Hey, what's good? It's Pika calling in from Singapore. It is Thursday night, and guess what? I actually got my Periscope done on time today. All right. It is only 9:45, and I'm actually early today. I feel pretty good about this. So, let's start, shall we? I hit her off to work as usual, dropped little mama off at school, and did my Periscope just outside her school because I like the trees, the way they grow around the school itself. So I just sat in a corner with the trees behind me and did my Periscope. We talked about, what did we talk about? My goodness. Co-creating. We talked about how it is that you could possibly get your dreams to come true by really focusing on the end result, how you feel about it, and basically write yourself a letter in the future and see if you can't get there because you've already written it down. Something magical about actually writing stuff down. You know, once it's in black and white, it's almost like the universe starts shifting towards that already. It won't always happen the way you plan it, obviously, but you'll get there, and it'll be the best version of your idea for, you know, your future or whatever. Anyway, so that was that this morning. And the challenge I put out to everybody was to go ahead and write yourselves a letter about where you want to be by the end of this month. So November 30th, if you were writing to your future self, what are you proud of? What are you happy about because you've accomplished these things or whatever? So that was the goal. So in the same light as that, I want to talk about my November goals. So this month, last month actually, the goal was mostly health-wise, right? So I was sleeping a lot better, I'm drinking a lot better, I'm eating a lot better. I actually gained some weight, not that much. It was like, 3 kilos basically, 6 pounds. So that's not bad. I will probably continue with that since I was able to keep up with it pretty well last month. I'm going to go ahead and continue with that, but that won't be my new goals. My new goals, I don't know if you realize or not, but I actually dropped my first, the intro to this whole podcast series on my new YouTube channel. So I'm actually really excited about that. I'm going to keep on dropping tracks. I think it's going to be like maybe 3 tracks every day. So y'all can follow along from the beginning if you're interested. And do feel free to subscribe to the channel and leave me some feedback so I can know what you would like to see from me in the future or what you'd like me to stop doing. Obviously saying is going to be one of them, I think. Anyway, just leave me some feedback if you don't mind. That's actually what keeps me going and gives me the courage to keep opening up, keep talking to y'all, keep telling you what I feel and how I'm coping with, whatever's going on in my life. The other goal is, so that's YouTube, right? So by the end of the month, I should be, I guess, halfway through loading all of my podcast episodes, because if I add the next 60 episodes as well by December 31st, if I keep dropping 3 tracks a day, I'm thinking I'll be caught up. And then from the new year onwards, it'll be just 1 a day. Brand new, fresh, all of that. So yeah, that's YouTube. The other one is I need to upgrade my website. So that means SEO, that means Shopify plugins, that means a store coming soon. And I'm actually really excited about that. So everything is underway already. I've sourced a lot of material. I probably will do one of 2 things. I'll open it up online so everybody can shop online and buy the merchandise, but I will also do sales probably here, which would be locally sourced. So yeah, I'm actually really, really excited about that. It's a very, very new venture, but it's something I've been dreaming up for the last 10 plus years. It's something I've got notebooks full of stuff that I wanted to do in this line. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, the first one will be out shortly, but I'll keep letting you know because that's what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm supposed to let you know. So you, my audience, get to know first, and then I'll put it on Facebook, and maybe we'll see how it goes from there. We'll see how much traction I get from there. So that's goal number 2. Goal number 3 is actually a really big goal because I have a lot to learn. It's all about learning. So I'm in the Robbins Madanes training program right now to be a intervention specialist, which I'm actually very, very excited and thrilled to be a part of. But it's a lot of work. The course load is quite heavy. It's only 16 modules, but even then, the modules, if you think about it, I'm working 2 jobs basically, well, 3 jobs basically, because I hit a 9 to 5. I do have, housework to complete, and then I have my own business to make sure I'm doing work in. So every day, action, 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 I've got stuff going on. So I feel pretty good about that. I do get to sleep on time, but this program that I'm into, obviously I have 6 months to complete it, but I'm hoping it won't take all 6 months because I'd like to be done by the end of the year if possible. Yes, I am pushing it I might be a little out of my mind, but you know what I've done? I've done that all year. Since I started this business, I've been a little out of my mind every time, and so far so good. It's working out for me because look at me. Over 100 episodes already, right? So I'm going to keep on going until I can't, and then we'll talk about what comes next. So the big three this month, YouTube, the website and store, and the Tony Robbins Madonna's program. So yes, big deal, but I think I can do it. I really think I can do it. I want to talk to you about multitasking. Because as you know, with all these things that I've got going on, I really have to be mindful of my time. I have a habit of not getting anywhere on time. It's not a good habit. And sometimes it's because my daughter will want to do things at the last minute or not want to do things to begin with, and then everything gets shifted backwards a little bit. Sometimes it's just me. I get sidetracked. My phone be calling me and I be on social media. But multitasking has become really big for me, and it makes a difference to me if I do or not, like do it well or not. So for instance, my family has decided to get together on Saturday for dinner, and it's a potluck. So because I have work on Saturday, originally the idea was I think I had to go into work at 4:00 for a workshop in the evening, and then I'd be done after that. I could come to dinner after that. So the original idea was that I would make a dessert, bring it to my aunt's house in the morning, and then go to work and come back for dinner. Now, things change, unfortunately, but I'm used to it. This is something I've planned for from day one now. So things have changed, and now I need to be at work at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I won't be done until way after that, that workshop is done, which is fine. I can still go to, to dinner and everything. But the only problem is if I make the dessert on Friday, I'd have to either deliver it Friday or wake up super early, deliver it on Saturday morning, way before I even leave. Because don't forget, in Singapore, if you take public transportation, you got to give yourself at least 30-45 minutes to get to wherever you're trying to go. So if I did that, I'd have to wake up at it's not a big deal to wake up early, but I know we'll be tired. I know it's going to be hard to drag a little bit out of the bed, go all the way down there, sweat to death, obviously, because we're walking down to my uncle's house, drop this stuff off, come back, and then take a shower and get dressed for work. Yeah, that's not going to work. So what I'm thinking now is the best thing I could do is actually make the dessert. I made the dessert today, all right? It was a cream cheese pound cake that I just, threw together real quick. And, so my idea is tomorrow night after work, we'll go down to my uncle's house. We'll drop everything off here real quick, walk down to my uncle's house, drop the cake off, and then come back and we can relax. And then we can go to work, straight from the house on Saturday and not have to worry about anything. So that's part of the multitasking, basically. The other thing is I like to cook in bulk. It's not really meal prep because it's not raw food, but it is, it is in a way because I make sure that there is enough food for me not to have to cook again during the week. The hardest thing for me right now is to come home after going to work, after picking baby girl up, and making sure that we have time enough to spend together without having to worry about cooking and stuff like that. So that is the difficult part for me. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work out. Sometimes, we do need a little extra help and stuff, and sometimes we don't. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out, what's the best way to do these things. Sorry, the cake is ready. See, multitasking. The cake is ready. I had to pull it out of the oven, and unfortunately the timer on my oven is broken, so I've been using it on my clock. But right now I can smell the cake, and I know it's ready. So while I'm talking to you, I'm actually going to test the cake. I don't know if y'all know this, but if you take a knife and, stick the knife into the cake, in the middle, in the corners, you can actually tell if it's done or not. So that's good news. Yes, it is done. So I'm just going to let that cool while I finish talking to you guys. What was I saying? I like to multitask. It really does help me out a lot. I try to get as much stuff done as I can so that I don't have to worry about it. So, for instance, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is set the kettle to boil, because while the kettle is boiling, I can go ahead and, I don't know how much you know about Hindu culture, but I have what's called a samyana. It is like a prayer room, prayer cupboard, something like that, where I have like pictures of the deities, the gods, and flowers that I, adorn the altar with and everything. And then my grandmother's pictures and then my grandfather's pictures and there, people that we've lost that are close to the family and stuff like that. So while the kettle is going, I go ahead and finish my prayers and bless the house, bless baby girl, and then I go and wake her up. Once I wake her up, the ideal the ideal schedule is to give her a bath first, and then she can take her time and watch TV and eat breakfast. Lately, some little girl feels like she needs to eat first, but then she takes her own sweet time to eat and doesn't want to finish. She doesn't want to get up from her seat because she's watching TV while she eats until the cartoon is over. Which, okay, 20-25 minutes is not that bad, but when you're rushing for time anyway, it becomes a little more difficult. So let's say in an ideal world, she does take her shower first and then she goes to eat. I don't have to worry about her after that. She's done. Then I just have to worry about me. I just have to make sure, I'm dressed and, ready to go out the door when she's finished eating. When we come home, most times it's, just dump everything in the washing machine, like the stuff you wore that day, so I can give her a bath real quick and she can start to wind down, cool down her body a little bit. And she usually plays or makes something. She's really into maker stations lately. So she'll, as long as she has scissors, glue, tape, and some paper. I don't know. It could be paper. It could be little containers. Anything that's like empty containers for the most part, as long as they're not, holding something toxic. I let her play with them. So like empty shampoo bottles, empty baby cologne bottles, little things like that. She happy to play with and tape stuff together. So yeah. While she's watching TV and kind of playing around or whatever, after she's had her bath is when I put dinner together. Either she eats by herself or depending on how I feel, I might feed her and me at the same time and relax with her. Otherwise, I'm puttering around the kitchen, making sure that, stuff is ready for the next day or whatever, attending to laundry, attending to dishes. It could be anything. So whatever work I have to do, I'm trying to make sure she's taken care of first so she doesn't have to oh, I'm hungry, oh, I want this, oh, I want that. So that's basically how the days work. The same thing goes for task lists and stuff. If I can get something major done, like stuff that I would usually procrastinate on, those tasks that you really don't want to do, but it doesn't really take that long, but you just don't want to start it even. And I'm going to admit something to you guys. I love to write, but for me, I have to be in the mood. So when it comes to blog writing, as much as I love to write, a lot of times I'll start writing and then it's like, it doesn't make sense. I don't like the topic. I want to change it 10,000 times. And so I put it off a lot and I shouldn't. So when I do put it off, that means that, I'm missing deadlines and stuff and that's not good for me, but it happens. I'm being very honest with you. I love to write, but I have to be in the mood. And a lot of times when those deadlines come up, I'm actually not in the mood. I'm scrambling for ideas. I've started this one blog post 3 times now. I just need to get it done. So I try to push to make sure I do the things that I don't want to do first, because chances are if I leave them, they'll probably roll over to the next day and the next day and the next day and keep on going like that. So I'm trying to be very honest with you guys. I don't like doing that stuff, but it happens more than I like to admit, okay? For example, another example of me multitasking is I will wash baby girl's hair once a week, right? And after that, I need to sit down right away and do it, because if I let her hair dry at all, it becomes a big knot, and it's a lot more painful for her than is, to try and fix that knot, and brush it out and make sure that it's, okay for through the rest of the week. I'm very, very grateful that her hair can actually hold a style for about a week without having to be washed or taken out or redone or whatever, depending on what style. The smaller the braids, obviously, the better it holds. If I do big braids, it maybe holds 1 or 2 days, because this girl doesn't sit still. She's 6. She rolls around, she jumps around, she, rubs her hair on everything. She ties dresses onto her head like wigs. She's very creative and very, very busy. So in order to make sure that she sits still long enough for me to do her hair, both of us throw on a movie or a marathon, and we will happily watch movies while I do her hair. So it's stuff like this that really, really makes sense to me. It really helps. And it's been a big theme for me lately, because I can't seem to do one thing at a time. It has to be many things at a time. For instance, sometimes when I'm doing busy work at work, like I've told you before, I've had to transcribe stuff. I've had to create soft copies from hard copies before as well. So what I do sometimes, because it's monkey work, I don't have to think about it. It's just a matter of, look here and then type there, look here and then type there. So it's not that big a deal. And a lot of times I will throw on my my Tony Robbins Madonna's lectures in the background so I can listen to that. Now there is a danger with that, because I could by accident write down what he's saying instead of what I'm seeing. But for the most part, it's worked for me. It's something that helps me not fall asleep, because mundane work like that where I don't use my brain tends to, I tend to numb out a little bit. I tend to, kind of zone out, which means I will end up falling asleep. I think it's years and years of working night shift doing data entry. I was the senior data analyst for Lumber Liquidators for my first, I came on board with them as a temp employee. So for 4 weeks, that's all I did was sit and type out numbers based on spreadsheets that, were taken off the production line. So it was fun. I loved it. But in order for me to stay up and make sure that everything got done, what I would do is actually run a Bones marathon in the corner of my screen where I could see and hear what was going on for the most part, but it wasn't the majority of my screen, so I would still be doing, the data entry work, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, it's become a habit to have a split focus, but for now it's working and there aren't any problems. Going forward, maybe, let me put it this way. If I had to create something, if I had to write a blog post or create curriculum or what else have I done? Anything like create new stuff, like really think and use my imagination. I can't do anything with words. I have to do I think I've told you this before. Like, for example, my favorite right now is the Man of Steel soundtrack, which is actually a score. There's no words in it at all. It's just all instrumentals. So the mood that I get when I listen to the score like that actually helps me create a little bit more. It gets me energized enough to write stuff. So yeah, multitasking has saved my life. Mostly because I can't delegate. There's no one to delegate to. So it's do or die, sink or swim, and I'm doing it, man, little by little. And if I don't, I do cut myself some slack. I just try to do better the next day. I do learn a lot from mistakes. Being late is not my favorite thing to be, but I'm late a lot. And it kind of makes me rethink the way I do things, like the strategy I have for my morning so that I can actually get things done. Yep, so pretty simple lesson for tonight, multitasking. Please try it. Obviously, you need to know what tools you have at hand to help you with these things. And once you've got the hang of that, just organize it so that you got whatever it is you need to get done. Yeah? All right. All my love. Take very good care. Guess what? Tomorrow's Friday. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. All right? Bye.